spent in a miserable way.
U.S. news: a watershed moment. Trump faces crossroads amid mounting threats on all sides. The Washin. When President Trump delivers his annual State of the Union address on Tuesday, a Democrat will be seated at the rostrum over his shoulder for the first time. The presence of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi v. California will bring into fresh. Trump dealt himself a political defeat with a 35-day government shutdown. He has secured. This is a watershed moment, said Chris Whipple, author of The Gatekeepers, The History of White House Chiefs of Staff. Time is running out. The challenges mount at a moment when Trump is as unencumbered and isolated as ever. Inside the White House, power has consolidated around presidential son-in-law Jared Kushner, a senior advisor who is functioning as a de facto White House Chief of Staff. With counterweights, Mick Mulvaney, who has replaced Kelly in an acting capacity, has said he is trying to manage the staff but not the president, according to administration officials. He has told friends, "I don't think he's even trying to mask the fact that he is operating as the head of a family-owned business instead of the head of one of the most powerful countries in the world," said Omarosa Manigault Newman, who starred on Trump's NBC reality show, The Apprentice, and worked for him in the White House before having a public falling out with the president after she was fired. Trump's popularity, meanwhile, is at an edge. Polls show many more. This raises the question of whether Trump on Tuesday might use his annual address to a joint session of Congress and to a prime-time national television audience to make a course correction and seek to expand his appeal, or to burrow in on conflicts with the opposition party, chiefly over illegal immigration and border security. Trump said last week that his State of the Union would be about unification, but that theme belies the president's combative instincts and the indifference even hostility he has shown toward congressional negotiations. He may mount bromide of national unity, but if he points to people in the gallery and says, in effect, immigrants of color are coming to kill you, that would undermine whatever prestige, said Michael Waldman, who as chief White House speechwriter helped pen President Clinton's State of the Union in the wake of two government shutdowns between 1995 and 1996. At other points, presidents facing dropping poll numbers have chosen to be very conciliatory or very optimistic, Waldman said. That would surprise, although the fight for a border wall has been a chief focus of Trump's for the past 2 months. The president's advisors said his address would not be an immigration-centric jeremiad, but rather would set a governing agenda for the year ahead. For instance, the president also is expected to talk about foreign affairs and highlight his administration's recent moves in Venezuela to force President Nicolás Maduro from power, as well as Trump's ongoing trade negotiations with China and his planned summit later this month with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Meanwhile, conservative leaders are urging Trump to weave in heavy language on abortion after Virginia government. Ralph Northam for Trump, right now, this is go time, Republican pollster Frank Lunt said. This speech, yet, Trump's natural disposition is to fight, and this is an especially adversarial moment for the president as he battles for building a wall at the US-Mexico border and chastises congressional Democrats and the news media. Trump has said he is on the verge of declaring a national emergency, which would trigger executive powers to attempt to redirect some federal funds toward border wall construction without approval from Congress. We set the stage for what's going to happen, Trump said last week. Any such move is likely to draw legal challenges and spark a political firestorm, and some administration lawyers have questioned the president's authority to do so, but plans have been developed for an emergency declaration nonetheless. Mulvaney has told Trump a national emergency would be viable and has looked for pools of public money to exercise the option. Officials at the in pursuit of a wall, Trump has few options. He does not want enough. Senate Republicans also are overwhelmingly resistant to declaring a national emergency, according to two senior GOP aides. Senate Majority Rep. Mark Meadows argued, the administration is also preparing for what one ally called a subpoena blizzard once House Democrats launched their promised oversight investigations, which are expected to probe the president's conduct and personal finances as well as alleged corruption in the administration. White House counsel Pat Cipollone and Deputy Counsel Michael Papura have met with leaders of individual agencies to provide instructions about responding to oversight requests and examining their staff. Have been strategist Chase Untermeyer, who served as Director of Presidential Personnel under former President George H.W. Bush, said, regardless of storm clouds, you have to have a team fully deployed in the field, not just inside the White House, but inside the departments and agencies, Untermeyer said. Meanwhile, Trump was brooding last week over a former White House aide, Cliff Sims, whose tell-all book depicts dysfunction and disloyalty in the West Wing. Staffers brought Trump has been less focused on the memoir of former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who wrote scathingly about Kushner but loved all of Christie's comments during his media tour, according to a senior White House official. The president also was angered by news coverage of his intelligence leaders, including Director of National Intelligence Daniel Coats, and their testimony before Congress, where they contradicted the president on several national security issues, including North Korea, Iran and the status of the Islamic State. But officials said, over the weekend, Trump tried to escape the troubles in Washington by making his first trip in 2 months to Mar-a-Lago. After spending
raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.